While watching the movie Blackberry, you'll find a lot of pop culture, from Command & Conquer Red Alert to David Lynch's Dune. Movie posters, video games, board games, VHS movies, Steve Jobs' keynote speech. How did a $5 million Canadian movie get the rights to all of this?
What?
What's cool is they didn't. All of this was used without permission, for free, and it was legal. Before we answer how, we need to ask why. Why is there so much media in a movie about the first smartphone?
I was trying to make the case that the culture of specifically video games like Magic the Gathering and movies in the 80s and 90s wind up having an outsized effect on engineers and programmers and specifically hardware developers towards the end of the 90s. And so I saw them as essential. I was like, okay, I need to figure out exactly what in my mind influences the first smart device.
The opening credits illustrate this beautifully. A montage of pop culture's interpretation of the smartphone before it existed, intercut with the developers who created it. This relationship between nerd culture and technological innovation is how the movie can legally use these clips. Fair use is a North American doctrine that allows the use of copyrighted material if it comments or transforms it in some way. You might have heard of it from YouTube videos. It's the legal basis for commentary videos and video essays. It's why I can use footage from the movie Blackberry in this video. Fair use is rarely, if ever, used so extensively in movies. There have been big IP mashups in cinema like Ready Player One and Space Jam: A New Legacy, but those either use properties that the studio already owns or are bought through expensive licensing deals. By the way, those movies wouldn't even qualify for fair use, where you have to use properties in a way that's integral to the story.
If you need to show that stuff in order to tell the story that you're telling, and by that I mean if you have a strong narrative reason for using the licenses that you're using, there is a way through fair use that you can use that stuff without informing the copyright holder and without paying anything.
For Blackberry, the culture to tech relationship is that strong narrative reason. That's how all of this can be in the movie. Matt Johnson and Matthew Miller wrote the script with their lawyer, Chris Perez, to make sure that fair use applied to every property they used.
It may not seem like it, but this is like the bleeding, cutting edge of what is legally allowed to be released in a movie, for real. And I doubt that even in the next decade or so, people will be even getting close to this amount of fair use.
But actually showing all this accomplishes more than visualizing that metaphor. It also grounds the movie in reality, which is perfect for a movie based on real events.
I'm always feeling like when I watch movies and they don't have an accurate representation of the culture that I know, I feel a kind of uncanny valley, like I feel revolted in a way by them. And so I make it my mission in everything I make to represent the world that I grew up in a photorealistic way where I can go, yes, that is where I grew up.
When too many recognizable properties are thrown into a scene for no good reason, it's faceless garbage. It's generalizing great works of art and entertainment into a symbol to be recognized. But there are meaningful ways to comment and transform pop culture. Fair use is great because it forces the filmmaker to have narrative-driven reasons for showing a property. Beyond Blackberry, the most interesting examples of fair use I found are in Matt Johnson's other work. NIRVANNA, the band The Show, uses fair use for parody openings, episode storylines, and jokes. It's not surprising that fair use isn't used often in movies. Nobody wants to get sued. But Matt Johnson and his team have shown us that it's possible to use fair use to create interesting, sincere stories. Given the creative possibilities, it'd be cool to see more filmmakers use this tool. Thank you so much for watching. You can support the channel for $5 a month by becoming a channel member. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and checking out some of my other videos.